We love superhero movies, but sometimes filmmakers seem to think that because the movies feature superheroes, they don't have to feature logic or reason. From hiding critical clues in the stupidest places to plain old boneheaded plot holes, here are some superhero movie moments that make absolutely no sense. Howard Stark's terrible clues. Iron Man 2 was bloated to begin with, but the big twist was one of the dumbest plot points possible. Tony discovers the new element he needs at just the right time thanks to clues hidden by his dear old dead dad Howard.
I built this for you, and someday you'll realize that it represents a whole lot more than just people's inventions. It represents my life's work.
That's incredibly lucky timing, especially considering Howard hid his clues in one of the most random ways possible, embedding a cryptic message to Tony in an old home movie reel, which then unlocks an even more cryptic clue hid inside the old Stark Expo design. But considering the clues were being kept top secret by Nick Fury himself, couldn't Howard have just, written Tony a letter with the info? Or maybe just a note on the fridge? That would have been way easier to find. Why not use Quicksilver all the time? Introducing a speedster can make for awesome effects and cool set pieces, but it also creates more than a few plot problems. As viewers of X-Men Days of Future Past found out, sure, the Quicksilver super speed scene is easily the coolest moment in a very good movie. But why on earth would Professor X sideline Quicksilver for the rest of the movie after getting a peek at his abilities? Quicksilver can take out every enemy in the movie before they even know they're in a fight. But after getting Quicksilver to help free Magneto, Xavier and future Wolverine just send him back to his basement for the rest of the film. That seems not so smart. Why wait for the house party? Fans might be mixed on Iron Man 3, but there's no denying the film did a great job of putting Tony Stark outside his comfort zone and telling a story unlike pretty much every other Iron Man movie. We just have one head-scratcher. Why didn't he just pull out the house party protocol sooner and get that army of super suits out of their hidey holes? He spends most of the film trying to repair and reacquire his latest suit, but he apparently has an emergency protocol all this time that can get an army of autonomous iron guys in the air. Why not flip that lever a while back? Yes, they needed to excavate the mansion to get a path cleared, but it doesn't take that long just to cut a man-sized hole down to the lab, does it? Logos without logic. It's hard to deny that Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice was a bloated mess, and one of the film's biggest problems is that it tries to shoehorn in all sorts of setup for Justice League at the expense of the Batman vs Superman story. The most ridiculous example? When Diana is checking out Lex Luthor's super secret disk drive, she finds files on pretty much all the future Justice League members, complete with little logos that Lex apparently designed for them in his free time, and then spends 5 minutes watching the equivalent of a bunch of YouTube clips while Gotham and Metropolis are being ravaged by supervillains. Come on, lady, focus up. The Francis conundrum. One of the big jokes in Deadpool is the fact that Wade sneakily figures out that Ajax's real name is Francis, then proceeds to call him that just to piss him off.
With a name like Francis.
Francis?
That's his legal name. He got Ajax from a dish soap.
When Wade gets loose later and sets off on his revenge mission, he starts hunting down all of Ajax's known associates by asking for Francis. It's great and funny. Except since the entire point is that Ajax doesn't want anyone to know his real name. None of the people Deadpool is torturing should have any idea who he's talking about. If Deadpool had simply told any of them that he was looking for Ajax rather than Francis, maybe the whole movie could have been wrapped up in under 15 minutes. Fortunately for fans, it wasn't. Batman's healing factor. Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy is one of the seminal film franchises in comic book history. But even the mighty Nolan can stretch things a bit too far. Case in point, the fact that Old Man Batman in The Dark Knight Rises is somehow stronger and more physically capable than any version of The Dark Knight we've seen up until then, despite having a busted knee and a broken back. Not to mention he's been a retired invalid for almost a decade, meaning he should be woefully out of shape. Yet, one appointment with a prison chiropractor later, and Bruce goes from super couch potato to unbeatable. One popular orb. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is so darn fun that it's hard to actually nitpick much of anything. But watch it a few times and the seams start to show. One of the biggest is the point that actually kicks off the whole movie: Star-Lord's trip to Morag to retrieve that orb, which is actually an Infinity Stone. If this thing is in such high demand, why hasn't anyone retrieved it before? And what kind of crazy coincidence is it that after being ignored for untold centuries, everyone literally shows up at the exact same moment looking for it?
How do you know about this?
I don't even know what that is. I'm just a junker, man. I was just checking stuff out.
Director James Gunn tried to hand-wave this on the commentary track, saying the planet had tidal seasons that last hundreds of years. So everyone is showing up because this is the first time the orb hasn't been underwater in 300 years. That unlikely explanation might get him a no prize from Marvel, but since it's not actually in the movie, it doesn't really count.
Congratulations, you're another lucky no prize winner. You'll find it enclosed. They'd open it up, the envelope was empty.
Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.